Now we can start. Matt is here for the water. Prove it. Boom. Streaming. Share. Copy.
It comes down to sign up that everyone that needs to do everything. I can just bring it down and show you. Yeah, right. Here, everything's stored. Keep it going down. We're just gonna make sure. Yeah, well. Okay, so
What is happening? Well, I asked Laura for my presentation. What? That's Laura for my presentation. No. It's going to be on the back. Just put it on the back. We're shooting the projector on the back white. Does that make sense with the little one? Right. All right. I trust you. I don't know what I'm doing. You guys are the experts.
The meeting stream is live from the live. Excuse me, could I please get a mic check starting on this side? You gotta turn it on. You gotta turn it on, Mr. Sturson. Bottom back of it should have a little button. Oh, I got you. Mic check, mic check.
Mic check. Sorry, I thought you turned them on.
No,
Typically, we're supposed to.
well, I turned it back off because everybody was just talking. Testing.
No, we just turned them on.
I can hear you.
Can I have you speak again? All right, try again. working? All right.
Keep asking.
One is working, although four is less.
Or it's just.
Hello. Still not working?
And I know.
You want to grab this one?
Can you hear me?
Now it's time for your solo song. I'm gonna play the piano.
We have it already. Right.
All right, then. It's 6:04. I'm going to call the meeting to order and welcome everyone that's here this evening and to my fellow board members. Mr. Kipper, would you call the roll, please? Present. Please stand. Jim? Mr. Kipper, is anyone signed up to speak this evening? Okay, thank you. Moving along to item 2, approval of the minutes. Is there a motion? It's been properly moved and seconded. If there's no discussion, please call it.
Yes.
Thank you. First off tonight, we have Brett McCann, our principal, and Julie Taylor, assistant principal of high school, who is going to give you a brief update on what is going on here at SHS.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for having me today. So we wanted to just kind of talk about a couple of events that have taken place at the high school recently. Oftentimes in the school year, we go with kind of ebbs and flows, and we're definitely one of those ebbs where we just have had a lot going on recently and all really great things. The two things we kind of wanted to highlight are the administration of the PSAP, which took place yesterday, and then also our homecoming festivities. So the PSAT at Streetsboro High School. So we actually administered this yesterday, and it was a fantastic event. So all of our sophomores came in, and then we had a select group of juniors and seniors who came in. We had a few juniors who took the PSAT as well, and then our seniors took the SAT. The rest of our building had an asynchronous day, this is our second year of doing an asynchronous day with PSAT, and it's a huge help. We have all hands on deck as far as staff who proctors and administers the test. So it's really a huge group effort from everybody in the building. And we've had some concerns as far as, well, if it's an asynchronous day, are we going to have our sophomores come, or are they just going to kind of like not show up? They're just going to kind of blow it off. And so we were extremely happy to report the 165 sophomores that we had who were eligible to take the PSAT. We had 159 show up. So only 6 students out of 165 did not show up. Some of those were valid, sick, not able to come excuses. So we had a fantastic turnout. And the purpose for us giving the PSAT and why other schools throughout give the PSAT is it's meant to prepare students for the administration of the SAT. All of our students at Streetsboro High School will take the SAT in March free of charge. That is paid for through the state of Ohio. All schools in Ohio either give the SAT or the ACT, one administration to their students free of charge. We, in alignment with College Board, AP, so on and so forth, we have chosen to administer the SAT to our students. So a couple of did you know facts. So the first one is did you know that the PSAT administration is for all 8th and 10th grade students? And that is something that the district pays for. And not every district will pay for the administration of the PSAT for their students. So I think it's a tremendous investment for the data that we get back, especially in a year like this year, where we're coming off of this, this kind of COVID dip, if you will, as far as figuring out where our gaps are. So this is a phenomenal data point for us that not other districts get to have. But since we have made the decision to invest in the administration of the PSAT, this is a huge help for us. The PSAT is the first step in qualifying to become a National Merit Scholar, which again is a tremendous honor for students, and you have to take the PSAT in order to qualify to be considered for national merit status. And then lastly, again, as I said before, the PSAT provides the district with tremendous data that allows us to monitor growth and learning for all of our students. The PSAT is one of the main data points that we look at as when we're looking at the advancement of students in our advanced classes, mostly for AP classes, but also classes that, you know, maybe if we're looking at a student for engineering 4 or some of those higher level classes, the PSAT is a data point that we really look at to gauge the students' level if they can really kind of handle that class. So a huge undertaking, phenomenal job by our counselors, Mr. Campbell and Ms. Simmons, in getting our staff ready. We had a phenomenal day with it. And overall, it was just great. We're really anxious to get this data back and kind of see where our students are at. The second thing we want to talk about is homecoming. So obviously, we were here for academic purposes, but high school is also about the experience. And with so many COVID restrictions that we've had in place, our team made it a priority to truly game plan to give our kids a phenomenal homecoming event. Our seniors have not had a normal year since their freshman year of high school. And the other kids in our building have never had a normal freshman or a normal high school experience. So we wanted to try to make it as normal as possible while still recognizing that COVID-19 is a concern. So what we did was we kind of did the same formula that we used for graduation. Graduation was a phenomenal event that our staff put on. And so we wanted to use the same things that we did. And that was utilizing our facilities and utilizing our teams. Obviously, events are different. No one will ever compare graduation to homecoming. But there were a lot of similarities that took place, especially behind the scenes. So our student council advisor, Dr. Schneeman, our operations team primarily, Mr. Scarsapino, Mr. Johansson, and also Ms. Devers joined us for a couple meetings, and as well as our administrative team at the high school, met multiple times to coordinate a game plan for what homecoming was going to look like. And the end result was that, you know, we went above and beyond, not to just utilize our facilities, but to also utilize our team and kind of our think tank to create what was, quite frankly, an unrivaled experience for our kids. So kind of a flashback, this is what our graduation ceremony looked like. So again, the utilization of our entire stadium complex, in particular Winfield, to just give us a phenomenal graduation experience. So much to the point that we decided we're going to do graduation again. And so we looked at this when we first put graduation together. We said to ourselves, like, how are we going to make this work? Like, what is this really going to look like? And we did it. I think we did a great job. And then you say to yourself, how do you make a dance work on a field? Like, what does that look like? And quite frankly, a lot of the schools we've done before, they said that they loved it. They kind of just put all the kids in there. They put a DJ in the middle of the field. They put the stadium lights on, and the kids kind of like hung out. They danced. It was cool, but it wasn't like a real like dance vibe. So we said we want to give our kids like a true homecoming experience, but do it in a unique situation. So this was the end result of what homecoming on Winfield looks like. So you can see, like, that's a true, like, unique, like, dance experience. Like, that looks like something that you would see in a true, like, nightlife environment. We had a DJ. We invested a lot of extra in lighting. One of the things we said is, like, we don't want to have stadium lights on because it's not a true feel for what our kids, for what they, like, really want. So as you can see, the lighting all the way around was essentially like Christmas lighting. And our operations team basically had a bunch of 2x4s, put buckets in, drilled holes into the buckets, and we streamed lights all the way around the dance floor. So this served as our dance floor. Just to the right of this, we had kind of like a small gaming area where we had cornhole, can jam, some other kind of like yard games where kids wanted to kind of play games there, they could do that. In the back area, we kind of had just like a lounge area. We had a mock photo booth, if you will, and then PTA was passing out snacks the entire time, utilizing our concession stand. So the event was, it was really a very awesome event. So looking at some of the more pictures, like that picture at the bottom for me is just like an unbelievable scene of kind of like what our facilities kind of transcend into when we do things the right way and we put people in place. So the kids had a great time. At the end of the night, we got them an ice cream truck, so each kid got some ice cream on their way out. And it's funny because like as much as you have 14 and 18-year-olds, and if you ever get a 14 and 18-year-olds, you know that they can kind of be, you know, smart aleck sometimes. But as soon as they hear the sound of the ice cream truck, they act like they're 8 years old again. That was pretty cool to see. So they were all very excited about that. So I just wanted to kind of thank in regards to the homecoming event, Dr. Steven, who's our student council advisor, put everything together. Our operations team, not only Mr. Scarcino, Mr. Johansson, but our custodians who were on staff, did a phenomenal job helping us out. Dave Clark, who helped us throughout the week with some of the other events we did, such as our homecoming bonfire. Our class advisors, Ms. Rumsey, Ms. Sir, and Ms. Simmons, who helped us out with our decorating and kind of events throughout our homecoming week. Deb Stocker was huge, helping us out with homecoming ticketing and kind of getting those questions and things figured out like that. Our PTA donated not only their time in the concession stand, but they also donated flip-flops for every female who came in, because obviously we didn't want, you know, stiletto heels on the field. So every person who came in who had high heels, they were given a pair of flip-flops, courtesy of the PTA. Our chaperones came and helped out. And then last but not least, our kids, who were just absolutely phenomenal the entire time. We anticipated having about 325 to 350 kids. We ended up with 465 kids, which according to kind of our record, what we've seen, might be the most attended homecoming ever. And they were phenomenal. Even the people who are our PTA workers, the people who came in the ice cream truck at the end, they couldn't stop talking about how polite our kids were, how kind they were. They rose to the occasion just as much as the staff around them. They need to be credited for that as well. So that's what's going on at the high school. So start of the year, it's been a lot going on. It's great. So our kids have been fantastic. Our staff has been fantastic. You know, we're excited to see the rest of the year.
So I'm just following on that a little bit. I think one of the key points that was really interesting about the kids' voices that the staff, all of the teams really wanted and worked hard together to create an environment that was going to meet that expectation and still follow the right now to the program. I think that's a testament to the team that they are working hard with each other. And also with that common goal of making sure we after the event. So I know that there was a lot of feedback from thank you all of that. I wanted to update everybody I wanted to update everybody about Mr. Dalbaugh and how he's doing. He sends his best wishes. He's still upset that he's not able to be here. He's working with his neurologist. He's working with his physical therapist and going to all of those meetings, doing the things that the doctors are asking him to do. And he's hopeful that he'll be back very quickly. But again, he continues to be frustrated because he would much prefer being here with all of you tonight and sends his love. He's thinking about everybody, and I know that he appreciates the well wishes that he's gotten from the board and from the community as well. So just a little update on Mr. Dalbaugh. Always our favorite conversation about COVID. And I just wanted to let you know that we are continuing to see a great reduction in students who have to quarantine outside of school due to exposure within school. As a reminder, we don't get to make that determination for quarantine. We have to follow what the Portage County Health Department guidance is. They're the quarantine folks, but we do have to work with them to give those contacts. There is some conversation at the state level, and I think probably people have noticed there's talk that ages 5 to 11 will be approved for at least one of those vaccines. And latest from the health department is that could be as early as November 1st. I bring this up because there'll be opportunities for families if they're interested in having their child vaccinated. We're working with Akron Children's Hospital and Crestwood Schools. We're going to have opportunities if that's something you want to pursue for your child. But also, I think we're starting to hear that once that vaccine becomes available for ages 5 through 11, that will essentially be all students at school age. And that may change some of the quarantine guidance. So we'll continue to monitor that, and as things change, I'll share that out with the community. Obviously, we're looking forward to a time when we don't need to be wearing masks as well. But the reality that we're dealing with right now is having to monitor our kids in school. And we've had, like I said, the last time a dramatic decrease in the number of kids that have to quarantine outside of school. Right now, I think we're somewhere around 4. But we're still getting cases, and many of you probably got the phone call from me already. So. And just in other news, we're also working on addressing students' social emotional learning needs. We're working in the county with care program. That's something that's going on district-wide here in Streetsboro. We're working with our SRO, Jason Goldman, Mr. Grid, and the fire department is part of this, and other area districts in the county. The idea is to get our first responders into school and have the kids start to develop some positive relationships with them, but also have a system set up that if something happens after school hours, and a responding officer or responding fire official can let the school know, not details of what happened, but just that something happened, so the school can help support that student if they need that the following day. So that's kind of exciting to see that coming forward here in Portage. That's a program that's had a lot of success in other counties in Ohio. And you'll be hearing more about that as we start to get that underway. I wanted to let you know that's something that's in the works. That's it for me.
I'll be quick for you guys today. Just want to update a few items that some of you have heard before, something new, a refresher as well. So just 3 items today. The September general fund activity. So we have a cash balance of $11.5 million for September. It was a monthly deficit, but as I said so in the past, this is pretty normal. This is pretty normal this time of year. We will go through a couple months just how the cash flows through revenues. So this is again normal. For September, it probably will be until January until we receive those property tax from our voters as well as the wonderful businesses in the community. So that is our general fund activity for September. The last couple months, we were in the process of refunding our 2016 bonds, and you will remember this, that we had a savings, we had a new interest rate of 0.763%, which is wonderful, and through 2001, through the maturity date of 2025, we saved $336,000, which is a hefty amount, given we were only refunding that $3.55 million. And then I wanted to couple that with our refunding of our Series 2004 bonds from last year. So what the district just went through was in the refunding of the 16 bonds, sorry, there's a lot of years going back, that was a direct placement. That was a direct offering. So that means that was us dealing with our bond counsel and our advisor and going through those relationships. We did not have a public offering. It didn't make sense given the amount. And I think we had a really favorable amount. When Mr. Scarsapino was treasurer, what he went through was a public offering. Longer, more information, more information to give bond rating agencies. There's more players in that game. And it honestly was a bigger amount. It was, we were dealing with 30 some million dollars and not the 3.5. And the average coupon rate after it's all said and done was a savings, well, the rate was about 4%, a little bit underneath, 3.99. And then the total savings was 5.2 million throughout a longer term to 2049. So coupled with those savings, that's $5.6 million just in 2 years. And honestly, we're just taking advantage of the rate environment now. I honestly and hopefully we will never see something like this in our career because of the pandemic. But when opportunities arise to save funding, that's what we have to do as a district. And it's very similar to if we refinance our house. The only thing is that the maturity dates stay the same. They don't, if you refinance a house, you 30 year. So I just wanted to give you information on what we've done recently and then go back to the past a little bit as well. And then the final information is that I just wanted to give the community a way to, if you have, I talk about the general fund a lot, but we also have other funds, which includes federal grant information. And federal grant information, a lot of these programs are pretty well established for years and years and years. And it comes from the federal government to filters through the state government, which really manages those funds, and then comes into us. And it's up to us administrators to know those different federal allowability rules for those old federal grants that are well established and basically continuing year to year, and also the newer grants stemming, particularly the ones stemming from the pandemic. So our district goal and the knowledge that we are receiving and will continue to receive and have received is stemming from the pandemic. The goal is to use those funds within the allowability timeline or the allowability rules within the timeline of the grant. So a couple years, 2024-ish, is to really use those funds for the social, emotional, and academic development of our students stemming from the pandemic. And so with that, as the district moves forward with those funds, especially stemming from the pandemic, I mean, we pay for teacher salaries for some of those federal funds, curriculum purchases. I want to do an increase in tutoring to our students and do a shout out. We do have a job fair coming up and we are hiring for qualified tutors. And then those obvious expenses from the pandemic, which is safety and cleaning items. So I did put something on our website, and thank you, Mr. Johansson, for helping me out with that. So there is a link on our website for if people just want to give feedback or have questions about the federal grant information. I'm more than willing to give information what the district is doing and what the district has done with those valuable funds that we receive through the federal and filtered through the state government. Okay? And thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Ballard. So as Mr. Johansson gets set up with our presentation this evening, just wanted to share with you, we have issue 26 on the ballot in November. It's going to consist of a permanent improvement renewal as well as general fund renewal. So tonight I'd like to share with everyone about permanent improvement dollars and what that means to the school district, because they do not have to come out of the general fund for some of the great things that are done, some of the pieces of equipment that we have, and we're really doing well in planning and execution of those PI dollars and what those mean here. So PI dollars at work, you just see a field and you see a road. Well, I see a cement envelope that was poured at the middle school, so we could be more operationally efficient with our buildings and bring our buses in. There used to be about a 10-inch curb there. That was PI dollars that funded that project. You also have a gate that was put in here at the high school to help with the traffic flow so that buses didn't have cars flying behind them at dismissal time and items like that. PI dollars that work and what that means to the district.
And in both of those situations, we effectively were able to separate car traffic from students to increase safety on our school buses.
What you see on the left there is an Elite Desk computer, brand new for all of the staff at Henry Duffer Intermediate. Their technology was outdated and indeed that qualified under a PI purchase. That was done prior to the school year starting, as well as new furniture for the teaching staff and staff over there, because the furniture that was there, the chairs, were what came with the building 20 years ago and needed an upgrade desperately. So we saw the need, we executed the plan, we negotiated the business deals to get the best prices. You'll see some of that savings eventually here as we're building that. Not this month, but maybe next month on what we did with the computers and the chairs. New school buses. We try to purchase about 2 a year. We have an aging fleet. We need to continue to build that infrastructure. People think, oh, it's just a formality getting children to school. It's not. It's an entire operation, and we need a fleet to do so. We're a growing community, and we need the fleet that shows we're the growing community. So what you see here is our 2 new buses, inside and out. They're going to be on the road soon. We're just waiting for some GPS stuff and some radio equipment, but soon they will be deployed. But that's another PI purchase.
Best practice with school buses that we learned from OSBA is try to have a school bus for 8 years and then cycle it out and get the best value trading. A couple of years ago when we traded in some school buses, we traded in 3 buses and got almost nothing for them because they were out of date. So
Now we're building that cycle as an operations unit. Stone beds, right? So equipment that was used to build these stone beds, not necessarily the stone, is PI. This is done all throughout the high school. The high school's finished. We did the courtyard on Friday here at the high school. So now you no longer see weeds. You no longer see old mulch beds with weeds. There's weed barrier down and there's beautiful stone. And we're working on projects with every single school to have painted rocks put in these rock beds to bring the school to life. Very important. That's the front of the high school done as well. Ready to rock. Looks aesthetically much better. You have a gate at the football stadium there. That gate was put in because we were having some issues on the hill there regarding behaviors. So we wanted to keep our students safe and our fans safe at the stadium. There was a need for it. PI dollars that were a gate's put in before the next football. Again, just the beautiful stone and landscape and the different projects that brings to us, right? So PI dollars help fund some of this, but there is a bigger thing of educational pieces. Bringing sociology class out to paint rocks, having our special needs students help keep these beds weed-free, things of that nature. These are all things that are part of a bigger plan, and it aesthetically looks pleasing to our beautiful facility. Moving on from PI dollars, unless there's any questions about PI. World Food Day event. So you may have seen some of the correspondence about World Food Day in your email. Keith came up with a great idea and said, listen, I want to make sure to get our kids fed. We have operations meetings weekly, and we were all brainstorming on what we can do to feed our kids, because USDA took away the ability for us to feed them on weekends and evenings, and we felt that we had a need for that. So we talked about that. We thought about, what about if a student doesn't want to take this piece of fruit at lunch? Can we put it in a basket? Can we build a food bank that way? Not sure. So we worked out all kinds of plans in our head. We decided we were going to utilize our entire team, district social worker Samantha Castle, get her involved, get all the principals involved. So we came up with World Food Day. So what World Food Day was is each building had a week designated to them for a food drive. Bring in a can, you get a raffle ticket. What do those raffle tickets get you? They can get you $50, $30, or $20 in a la carte at the snack bar. So every student would have a chance to win. Every student would participate. And then during your week of the food drive, we had Principal's Choice Day, where the principal got to select the menu. And then the students knew about that, and Keith was generous enough with the nutrition group to donate an a la carte item each day for the students that bought lunch. So some could get a fruit snack or a cookie, or in the case of this, you see Mrs. Kravitz with her tiara on. It was her birthday. We had birthday cake that day. All within the allergy guidelines, so everybody could get a slice, and the cake went very fast, and everyone loved it. So during that week, that would happen, and we would come out, and we would serve. It was a great event, and the students were very excited about it. If you want to keep going, Andreas, I think we might have another picture or two. So you have right there the high school. They were the first one. We had some costumes going there. Mrs. Taylor in her chicken costume, Keith in the cow costume, and Mr. McCann as a cowboy, and the staff, they're all dressed up. There was music going. We had a little competition at the high school I want to talk about. Mr. McCann might want to go hide right now. The competition was they could not decide on a menu, so we let Mr. McCann pick a menu, and we let Mrs. Taylor pick a menu. Well, Miss Taylor picked a rodeo chicken sandwich, and Mr. McCann picked a rodeo cheeseburger. While sitting in that meeting, I said, I don't want to have to choose a side of whose team to be on. And Brett said, I don't want you on my team. I said, okay. Miss Taylor was like, I'll take you. Well, Miss Taylor won, and she won in a landslide. Wasn't even close. Yes. So what's the point of all this, right? Well, A, it's fun, and it's a school, and we should be having fun. But now that we have an operations team here, we can do things like this and carry it out. These discussions are happening with building principals weekly, administration weekly, all the staff weekly, we're meeting. That's the results, and we're not finished yet. We still have other buildings to collect from in the administration level because they went on for the entire month. We have built our own food pantry at the annex to feed our students when we see a need to feed them. And it's like a grocery store in there right now.
And to clarify, so this isn't sort of feeding during the school day, but for kids that need it
Correct.
at home, that are not food secure over the weekend.
So what's the action plan, right? You have all this food, what are you gonna do with it? Well, we have an action plan. Keith has been working diligently to build it, inventory it, and then we have Mrs. Castle, our district social worker, who is going to run that store. She's gonna help identify students in need. She's going to have keys. She's going to work on the hours when it's available for them to come and get what they need. And we're gonna take care of our own, because that's what's important to do. Wonderful event. Let's talk about our next wonderful event. We see a need to hire. We have plenty of needs. As we all know, we have a contingency plan for busing because we may have to cancel a route because there's such a shortage on drivers. So instead of just continually advertising about it and trying to use emails, we met as an operations team again and said, what can we do? How can we bring people in to see the great things that are happening in the school district? So we determined that we're gonna have a job fair. And you know what? We might get 2 people. We might get 50. If we get 1, it's a win in my book. So we'd like to invite everybody out that's looking for jobs. We have all kinds of openings and we're always hiring. It is on October 11th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. We're gonna have some food there. So you can try our great food.
October 22.
October 22nd. I'm sorry, what day did I say? Oh, my apologies. It's because of the way you put your date there. I confused me. So we're gonna welcome the community in for the event. We're gonna have people that are in charge of each one of those areas at tables. We're gonna have Mrs. Stockford there. She's going to be able to help them fill out an application and start filling out paperwork if they're interested. We're gonna offer time for them to come in and do background checks because that's what you have to do here. And hopefully we get some people and generate some excitement. You're gonna see banners soon. We ordered some banners. You're gonna see banners on State Route 303 in front of the tech house saying now hiring. You're gonna see one in front of the high school, and you're going to see another one on main campus. They're very large, 144 in length by 48 high, I believe was the measurements. And they're neon, like our director of operations likes to stand up. So that's another exciting event we have coming up next Friday that we'd like to welcome people out to. And try to fill some of the needs we have. It's very hard. Everybody knows that the staff right now, so we have to get creative in what we do.
And there might be some pizza there too.
There definitely will be pizza there, right, Heath? All right, perfect. Okay, and then one of the last items here is we just want want to announce there will be a safety drill at the middle school on Wednesday, October 20th. And the reason that we're communicating this out and in advance, and you're going to hear it communicated several times through principals' emails, through the superintendent's emails, and then also again through some blast calls before it happens and when it's done. Because you might see some police presence or an ambulance or a fire truck at the middle school on the 20th. And people might say, oh, what's going on? Something must have happened, and then they're going to try to rush to the school. It's a planned drill. So we wanted to really communicate that out so everybody knows it's a planned drill and it is city and school working together. Mr. Johansson is leading that along with Officer Vogelman and Captain Grimm.
It's part of what's required for a school district. And we initially planned a much larger drill, but scaled it back due to several factors. And so meeting the requirements is then sort of a supervised or observed drill by fire and police department. So we're doing that, not very different from any regular drill, fire drill, tornado drill that we do in the buildings. But TJ's right, there may be police presence more than usual. It's not atypical to see a police department at the middle school or the fire department, but they might be there all at one time, because then the city is also interested in testing some response times and things of that nature. So
That concludes.
So I just want to say, I did share the job fair information, because the more people that you can get that to, the better. I have it posted on my personal Facebook page, and then also my LinkedIn page.
I like that.
I saw that. Yeah, so just anyone who can share it, you know, in the community, people can look outside of the district, and our networks are wide, we definitely need to help.
And shout out to the PTA as well. I sent it out to them and asked if they could help communicate that out, and they jumped right on it. So thank you.
I think as far as the food pantry, I would like to see that reported out. So PR is good. This is the administrative team and our operations department. You guys are hitting it out of the park. I've said it before, but I keep saying it because you do it every day. This needs to be promoted. Whether you develop the story, I always try to develop a story to give to the paper so they don't mess it up. No, that's to the newspaper, but it happens. Whether it's video, posted on our website, social media, whatever it is, I would promote it and take the kudos that you guys do.
Thank you.
Real quick comment. I heard about the lunchrooms and let me just tell you that goes a long way with your staff. They were impressed and they were very happy to see all of
It was so much fun, enough so that this evening, Andreas and myself were talking. I said, we're going to do this once a month. We're going to start implementing this once a month. The principal's choice, they were going to talk to Keith about it and have that go.
I think you forget, all of us have careers, no matter where you work, but especially in school, we get so caught up in things that have to be done, or putting on fires, or doing whatever, and you forget why you don't forget why you're here, why you're here, like, you forget to have a good time, and everyone, whether it's you're in a building or you're in a company, you need that, everyone needs that. I love.
I did leave out.
Yes.
So then the way that I determined that, okay, we can put up drive and somebody was polite, I'd say, thank you for being so polite. Do you want a cookie? Because we have cookies. And they'd say, yes, please. And I'd say, you get another cookie because you said please.
All I can say is I was serving friends in the amount that I like to receive.
Thank you very much for that report. It's really terrific to hear. Moving on, we are going to go to board reports, and I will start off. I just want to remind everyone as you start off your report with CJ, there is the levy on the ballot on November 2nd. It is issue 26, and it is for 5.1 mils. So just remember to go out and vote. And earlier this evening, I emailed you all the legislative reports. We each have that in your emails. And with that, I will turn to Mrs. Campbell.
So, we did have a meeting with the Educational Foundation in September. There is another meeting in October. We are discussing bringing more information to the community about the Educational Foundation. We're not certain that everyone knows that we exist and for our purposes. So we're working hard on that. And then we also, regarding PTA, their tailgate and conference dinner nights were both big successes. They'd like to thank their sponsors as well as people who attended the tailgate party and would like to thank the building vice presidents for their assistance in organizing conference dinner nights. Their next general membership meeting is November 3rd. They're posting it at Zero Watch. There may be a change to the location. They will get that information out shortly. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Mr. Gibson.
I do not have a big report tonight. A lot of the fall sports are wrapping up. You know that both the boys and girls soccer are playing tonight for the next tournament. The girls are set to start dating, which should be done by now. But everything's going great. We got a chance to get out and catch a great team. I recommend it before we run out of time. At all levels, it's an exciting fall so far.
Thank you. Mr. Crown.
Yes, you items for tonight, but I wanted to start with something that I normally would report on, but this is important for our school district, and unfortunately, it is a sad note. Monica Capoletti, 1967 graduate of Streetsboro High School, is someone who has remained active in the Streetsboro Alumni State Association, and his family has continued to provide student scholarships over the years. Sadly, passed away earlier this week. Our condolences to her family. Moving on to my normal report, the Streetsboro High School Marching Rockets participated in a band show under Aurora earlier this month. Of course, they did a spectacular job, and there's some items on my part that their signature tune has been the horse, and although many other bands have tried to duplicate what our high school band does in play and their dances, our band again knocked it out of the park and did a great job. They did it again. So great work by all of our band members again, not only at the band show, but the entire year. Tomorrow night, the high school and middle school choirs are scheduled to perform here in the auditorium starting at 7 p.m. And next Wednesday, October 20th, high school marching rockets will hold their marching band concert beginning at 7 p.m.
Thank you. Mr. Violi.
I have no report.
Thank you. Moving on to the consent agenda. Is there a motion for the consent agenda, items B through item H?
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Discussion?
I have a question about item B, first gate. I just wondered if that's just like a 1 year or something, or is back to back, or?
So we've made an investment in these athletic facilities for a multiple project, and they're out of the back, like a maintenance plan per se, an upkeep plan for those facilities. And if you look at them from afar, they're beautiful. But if you really get close, there's a lot of weeds in that grass. You can feel it's starting to show a lot of wear and tear. So with our baseball and softball coaches and our operations team and athletics, that collectively as a group discussed some options, did a little research on the organizations that excel in those areas, and we brought out some people, had them look at it, tell us exactly what it would take to get the field back into shape, whole field back into shape. So right now we're getting it back into shape with some aeration, some overseeding. We got to do some top dressing on the fields if they're in really bad shape, and then the edging of the field to the dirt. There's a lot of overgrowth there. Once we get that taken care of and continue that on a maintenance cycle, it is going to need to get fertilization regularly to look the part. So the upfront now is what you see. It is going to be ongoing. The investment probably won't be as much moving forward, but we have to stay on top of that. And this is something that we need to bring somebody that knows how to handle baseball. So we can continue on the investment that we've made in these facilities.
So then this is just upfront. When we get to a regular maintenance, we'll be another proposal.
Most likely, we're still working out what that's going to look happen right now at this time of year. This is the time of year for the grass to grow or this will take place. So I did not want to wait another year. We're probably 2 years out from really having them look at the park. This is the start.
Thanks for that. Yep, thank you.
No.
Any other discussion? I just wanted to call your attention to all of the donations made to the district, and in particular, thank Classic Honda for the $2,000 donation to the Streetsboro High School as part of their building.
Yes.
Yes.
Moving on. Okay, well, letter A there, speaking with Mr. Daba, he is recommending that we bring on a supervisor of student services while he is away. That person is here today. I'd like to meet Dr. Deborah. She comes to us with a wealth of information. She's been working closely with the district. She's fit in very nicely with the administrative team, and I don't know if that's a compliment to her or to us, but either way, we're very happy to have her join us. She's a face that many parents have started to see. She's been involved in some phone conversations, helping people get questions answered. We're just genuinely very, very pleased to have her here. She was previously with Ravenna City Schools as a building principal and has done quite a bit since her retirement in working with districts such as Mayfield and Springfield in a variety of capacities. So she brings a lot of knowledge and just a good sense of humor with the group. We're very pleased to have her. So I wanted to introduce you this evening.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
Second.
Then have one moved and seconded. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Would you call the roll, please?
Joe? Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Welcome to Dr. Grant.
Thank you. I'm trying to get help, and I've had such a warm welcome when I was next meeting that I'm a Greensboro resident, so it's nice to see the inner workings of the district and a lot of great things going on. I appreciate the opportunity.
We appreciate you being here.
I will take the second part of the superintendent's recommendation. It is recommended the board administration approve the amendment to the director of services and benefits contract for the year effective August 1st. July 31st.
To approve.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Then look properly moved and seconded. Discussion? Okay. If there's none, Mr. Would you call the roll, please?
Chris? Yes. Mr. Yoder? Yes.
Yes.
Gavel?
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carries. Now moving on to treasurer's recommendations. Mr. Diffler.
It is recommended that the board of education approve the purchase budget statement for fiscal 2022 school year as shown in the deck.
Your motion?
I'll move.
I'll second.
Been properly moved and seconded. Mr. Diffler, discussion?
But for student activities Gavel?
Yes.
Mr. Yoder?
Yes.
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 Mr. Grant?
Yes.
Motion carries.
It is recommended that the board of education approve the appropriation for fiscal year 2022. That rate of resource will be adjusted as needed.
Your motion?
I'll move.
Second.
Properly moved and seconded. Discussion? Mr. Diffler?
Standard, Gavel?
Yes.
Mr. Grant?
Yes.
Gavel?
Yes.
Mr. Gibson?
properly moved and seconded. Discussion, Mr. Fisher?
Yeah, and this information is, this is just how the financial house cleaning, bringing a class of the funds, the cash balances for the class of 19, 20, and 21, and moving those balances to the council. That is historically what we've done in this district. And that was high school and middle school board, talking to Ross, it makes it organizational financial wise, didn't accept that too, because it's really they go currently for financial information, so really it's two high school board, not one. And then the last one is just a movement of financial wellness fund 467 from fiscal 21 to fiscal 20.
There's no additional discussion. Please call the roll.
Yes.
Campbell?
Yes.
Campbell?
Yes.
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 Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Kipper. Moving on to item 7, new business. Does anyone have new business to bring before the board?
I know.
I don't hear any.
So we will move along to old business, very old business.
I don't know if I can tell. I'm going to go through my statement and talk about the digital sign that is sitting for right now. And hopefully we can get some movement on legislation in the city hall. But I was looking through my text messages from it goes all the way back to the 10th meeting we talked about this in a row. It goes back to January where there's discussion that definitely that is council members. And I have to, but back in September, there was some movement and as things were moving along, a lot of looking at new legislation to introduce to the city. I was just told that it's still back in the zoning finance. So nothing has happened as far as any legislation. They have to go to it's frustrating. I won't speak for the council again, but I know he's frustrated as well. He's frustrated on the backlash towards hopefully pressure from council or we can get them electronic signs and I think that we have to pass it. You could advertise on that for most trackers.
Yep. So many districts have that.
They want to restrict it. I understand they want to restrict where these signs go. They don't want to make it strict at the same time. I know there's a difference on the other city. I wrote faster than the other day. They had old information on it, so I mean, that's the nice thing about having that. Those changing information on one slide. It's over.
And you can update it from anywhere. And you don't have to be here, you can do it from home. And I was in Las Vegas last week, and I assure you, those two signs wouldn't make our house in Las Vegas. I promise you.
I believe the legislation is complicated. I'm not
I agree.
I'd like to make it a big deal out of it. It is complicated to be able to control that type of product out there. So,
And we're not the only school district in the state that's great position on it. Rocket science. If you go to Kent, they have the same kind of sign up front, but no one else in Kent has other signs. You drive around, lots of schools have the sign for their city farm. They don't do it. I'm confused as to why they keep that back and forth. Go to a
Thank you.
Board of Education approve the policy updates to the board policy 3.02, 6.15, 6.40, 6.46, 7.05, 7.06, 7.26, and 8.13. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second? Been properly moved and seconded. Any discussion?
I would like to discuss the policy 6.15, graduation diploma requirement.
Okay.
In there, and I understand these updates from Federal Wagner, it's kind of optional. I went ahead and checked on the BOE and included it. So it is optional. They've included in there that in lieu of your PE requirements, you complete 2 full seasons of any sport, JR, OTC, marching band, cheerleading, or choir. You can get out of your PE, whatever. But I am not a fan of that. I would like to see us strike that part and still have to get that big.
Yeah, just the comments is, these board policy updates are just to reflect the new law and legislation that's come through. So, you know, we will follow what the law is, but if there's some things that we can do to help promote different activities with students, will do so. But these revisions are all to reflect changes in ORC or laws through the state that have come up. So that our board policy is in alignment with what the current law here in Ohio.
So this has been optional, though. We're schools should take this option for a while. I'm not sure why it's popped up on here right now. But if you don't have to have this in the policy, and I would like to see it not in there. There's things that they cover in PE that you're not going to pick up in 2 years of the sport. The outside of the collective. Additionally, when they don't take that PE class, they still have to make up those credit hours. Those credits to graduate. They get out of PE because of the marching band at 12, but now they've got to find something else to fill those hours to give them 20 credits. So it's not like we're saving them. They're still scrambling to find something else. And additionally, I think there's certain things in the PE class that they're not going to learn in 2 years, 2 years required. I'd like to see them still be in there. To me, Mark, I did sit down yesterday to make sure I read it right. You don't have to have it marked in your document. I would like to see us not have it as an option.
Is there additional discussion on the board and or
I mean, I don't disagree with Andy. There are things in PE that I know, for example, here in the high school, I think the things that are covered that I think is beneficial. I think it's also good for camaraderie to have everyone have to take the classes. I don't have a strong opinion either way, but I just think it's a topic that is interesting. But it is optional. Maybe we should explore that a little bit.
Maybe we should have it right now, or that, because my question is, the students would have to make up those credits. I understand where there's, and I don't know if there's any way to track it from high school, but are there other classes that the students would want to take, they couldn't take because they had to take?
Correct. Yeah, there's a lot of questions about that.
So, instead of just mixing this one and moving it off, not necessarily meshing with the state law, but rather meshing with the state law, but we have to come back with good additional information to make sure that.
Well, the measure of the state law is whichever we choose. No, you don't have to. We have to do what you want to do. And that's what I'm saying. I don't want to do it. I'd like to not do
So
it.
removing PE is optional.
Yes,
Right.
you can have, you have.
We can always add that now.
Yeah, back, or we could, I'd like to just not have it, and if we come back and file a horrible failure, let's do it. So I've had a kid that's a senior, I have a kid already graduated, and they both would have qualified for this, and there was a lot of pressure. Years ago, hey, why aren't we doing this, other schools are doing this, and I thought it was a great plan. I've said, stop down and talk to gym teachers, PE teachers, and they've convinced me that it's not just what they teach, and then looking at it myself from a more removed stance, not just we're going to make it out of the class. I think it's better to not have it in there. It's better to have it go.
And I would be curious what to pick up if we look at PE that would be available. I know we're up in the wellness class here in high school. If that's the alternative, I agree with that.
Well, and that's what I was going to say, kind of alleviate some of your concerns, is that the looking at how we can expand what the choices are for our students, and not so much move to limit. But we can certainly do what the board would like to go back and look at that. But I think past practice has been to be creative and offer as many opportunities for students and not restrict. If there's something in place that would prevent students who want to participate in athletics and compete. I think the idea has always been to kind of expand our offerings to make sure that we're meeting the needs of their interest levels.
And they've already, I agree, that's not to limit them, but they've got opportunities as well. Like my senior is staying home for period. And I believe the second half of the year, seniors, if they're on track, is the first period, right?
So that's in effect all year. Some students might be a little on to that for taking advantage of late start and early release or are on track.
But in those periods, they could pick up an extra class if they want to, or they could sleep in the first period.
Correct. Yeah, we have some students who are here first period. They want to take a class off during that time. They have that ability to work for counselors.
Yeah, so I mean, so to open this up for the academy, I think we already have, we have opportunities to get classes. I would like to see students stay in the, as opposed to not stay.
Of the individual and the respective choices that the student and their parents might make. And if the parents and student discuss it and it's their wish to opt out, then they should have that opportunity. I don't know that we want to be in a position since, like I said, it is optional, but it opens up more possibilities for the students with it in there.
Yeah, I just, I like that. And I'm happy with it, I guess. They have the ability to opt out, they still can take it on, correct, so that's not that they don't have to take it.
Right.
And how they would, they have the ability to opt out. They could, if they wanted to take, whether you opt out.
But they won't opt
out. Oh, no, I'm saying they don't have to. No, you don't have to. It's theirs and their
Yeah, it's not, I don't think the intent is to prevent students from taking PE. As I mentioned, we're trying to expand some of those options and offerings so that kids have some different opportunities that way. It's meant to kind of clarify that if you are, participating in 3 different sports throughout the year, perhaps you've met some of those physical education requirements and you have a different opportunity. But that's kind of the intent behind this at the state level, and that's what the board policy revision is trying to reflect, that change at the state level that we honor that some students have a different path athletically, and giving them an opportunity that they don't have to take PE credits that can also count towards their PE credits if they choose to do so. Not that, if you're in a sport, you can't take PE.
Yes. Julie? Yes.
Yes.
Daniel?
Yes.
Yes. No.
Motion carries. Moving on to item B under 9 in board policy, it's recommended the Board of Education approve the new board policy 6.58 children in foster care as shown in the attachment. Is there a motion?
Approve.
I'll second.
Been properly moved and seconded. Discussion?
Who will be the district?
Right now, the Director of Student Services. Yes, so this is clarifying some changes that came through at the state level with regard to foster care and policies that school districts utilize when